Very good afternoon, friends. Again, uh, I welcome you all on in the 11th CMS VATAVARAN International Film Festival and Forum, happening in hybrid mode, where you can watch more than 89 nominated films on uh, various subjects of environment, climate change, wildlife conservation, environment conservation, free and exclusively till 23rd of April on India Science Channel, India Science OTT channel. That is a DST Vigyan Prasar initiation and initiative, and uh, every day, as you know, from 4 to 5, we meet some of the very, you can say that, environmental conscious filmmakers. So today we were supposed to talk to Shabnam Jafri regarding her film Shoot That Leopard. That is uh, 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 you can watch that film nominated in the CMS Vatavaran Film Festival Forum. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, Shabnam won't be able to join us. I am really extremely sorry for that. But I'm happy to inform you that Mr. Sohail at Jafri, who is also a co-director and the scriptwriter of the documentary, will be joining us. So Sohail Jafri is a self-taught, passion-driven documentary filmmaker who has carved a niche in the field of impactful documentaries on wildlife and environment. So, friends, without any delay, let me welcome Mr. Sohail Jafri. Hello, Mr. Jafri. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Sabisachi. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here. And
Yeah,
it's
uh, we, as I was saying, that we were expecting Shabnam to join, but due to some problems, some unforeseen circumstances, he is not joining us today. Probably in near future, we will have another session with her. So, Mr. Jaffrey, please do tell about yourself a little before we start talking and discussing about the film of the day. So, you said that you are a self-taught filmmaker. It means that you haven't received any filmmaking, education as such. So, how you started this filmmaking journey?
yeah. Before that, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to CMS Vatavaran for nominating our film. It's a big, big honor, and to be alongside such wonderful directors who we look up to, and just being there is a reward and award in itself. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and thank you, Mr. Sabisachi, for making this program such a, I would say, sparkling program. Right from your culture unplugged days to now, uh, you have you have really taken the Indian documentary film and filmmakers to wonderful platforms. So thank you to you, your team, and from on my behalf and my director. So now coming to your question about how I got into documentary filmmaking. Well, initially I used to read wildlife films, of course, Jim Corbett and all. Those had wonderful hunting sequences, uh, which in today's time, each one of environmentally conscious people would
Mhm,
not find, but that was at that time, and these are present times. But during those readings, I came across some wonderful, interesting, interaction between wildlife and humans. Especially
mhm,
if you read My India of Jim Corbett,
mhm,
uh, that is some tremendous, uh, natural history as well as human aspects. The
mhm,
wonderful humans of India, especially of North India,
mhm,
Kumaon Garhwal. So these
mhm,
were the small things which sparked something, inside me, and I started writing for newspapers and magazines.
mhm,
Uh, I wrote an article on conservation in Himalayas
mhm,
for Lonely Planet magazine, which was awarded as well. And
mhm,
as and when I picked up a camera and started, experimenting and making
mhm,
small films. So even for the self-taught young filmmakers who are looking out to make a mark in this field. So my suggestion is to pick up a camera. You have phone cameras and professional cameras as well. Just
Mhm.
go out in the field, make small films, narrate maybe yourself, write yourself, and
Mhm.
you will be reaching the next level with each film.
Mhm.
So one after the other, I started making, um,
Mhm.
one or the other conservation issues, and
Mhm.
finally this 1 hour long documentary for Films
Mhm.
Vision, which I'm the co-director.
Mhm.
Shoot that Leopard.
Okay. In your, biography, in your CV, you had mentioned that you had made more than 12 short films on wildlife and nature conservation that were part of Doordarshan's prime time series, Laksh, A Living Planet. Uh, can you
Right.
can you tell a little about the series and how you got associated and?
Yes, it was a very wonderful opportunity, great experience working on that magazine format for Doordarshan Prime series.
Mhm.
It was being made by one of my friends from Militech, Mr. Paramanshu
Mhm.
Mukherjee.
Mhm.
So I got in touch with him and we discussed the ideas. And for me, it was a great opportunity to direct, tell some of the
Mhm.
wonderful stories, right
Mhm.
from 5 stories from Himachal Pradesh on the human leopard conflict to vulture conservation to Pong Dam conservation, then monkey menace, which is a big issue now.
Yes.
Uh, Back in Mumbai, about Thane Creek and
Mhm.
flamingos, snake, human snake interaction. So
Mhm.
these were all very diverse and very interesting
Mhm.
subjects, which
Mhm.
uh, when I went out in the field and
Mhm.
uh, captured these stories and made unfolding stories which I was able to make.
Mhm.
That was a sort of life changing experience for me. Going
Mhm.
out and making, exploring every other story every now and then,
Mhm.
and seeing your work as especially as a self taught filmmaker on national television. It was a big high for me.
Mhm.
Uh, so that was my experience.
Okay, and then you had made as a director, as a script writer, you had made so many documentaries, which I can see, uh, including this wild combat inside Indian customs war on wildlife trafficking.
Right.
Uh, I will talk about this subject because wildlife trafficking is a real burning issue, and our viewers and I myself will like to know about what's going on when
Absolutely.
we talk about. Most of the time when we think about wildlife trafficking, what comes in mind is either rhinos or elephant tusk or leopards. But I think that there you can tell us more about it, but we will talk about it later on. Let us as the film of the day, shoot that leopard, which is nominated in the 11th CMS Vatavaran Film Festival. And as this is a 52-minute documentary which explores the complex issue of human leopard conflict through the perspective of two characters. One shoots leopard with his camera, and while other shoots with his gun. Yeah. So this is the shortest synopsis of the film which had given to me, and I had gone through film, and it's really very interesting. Like first, with the name, someone think, okay, it may be talking about shooting, yeah, or means killing some kind of leopard. So how this film came into in like who thought first? And yes, before talking to it, I really want to ask you, like, h- apart from director and co-director relation, how you are related with Shabnam?
Uh, well, she's my spouse,
Wow.
and we are travel buffs. So, speaking about the genesis of this film,
Yes.
uh, we went to a place called Kinnaur in Himachal Pradesh,
Mhm.
and we were making a short of travel video,
Mhm.
many years ago,
Mhm.
and being environmentally oriented, we witnessed the destruction caused by the hydro
Mhm.
projects out there.
Okay.
Uh, So we started turning from travel to conservation aspect. We
Mhm.
started, exploring the aspect of how the hydel projects were adversely affecting the uh, such delicate ecology of it's literally heaven if
Mhm.
everyone should at least go once to Kinnaur.
Mhm.
Um, so all these destructions and the one of the fallouts of this destruction of unscientific creation of idle projects was
Mhm. Mhm.
increase in human leopard conflict.
Mhm.
So that really made us think about how development, such kind of development in such delicate ecology could
Mhm.
trigger this kind of uh, conflict between humans and a wonderful animal called leopard. So
Mhm.
that's where it started, and eventually I got in touch with Dr. Vidya Atre, who is a
Mhm.
world-renowned authority on human leopard conflict. And
Mhm.
then she introduced me to Chief Wildlife Warden of Himachal Pradesh,
Mhm.
and I got in touch with him, and then uh, eventually he introduced me to another interesting character, Ashwini Kumar.
Mhm.
He is a
Mhm.
gentleman from Shimla.
Mhm.
So he has this wonderful passion of shooting leopards with his camera. For years
Mhm.
together, he was following one a female leopard called Whitetail.
Mhm.
And this is how the threads started, connecting link from one to another.
Mhm.
And the entire documentary was research based on one hand, and
Mhm.
on the other hand, it was unfolding experience. We did
Mhm.
not plan, okay, this is how this documentary is going to unfold, and this is the beginning, this is the middle, and the end.
Mhm. Mhm.
So as we started, covering these characters, we came
Mhm.
across one after the other. We came across so many intriguing characters, situations.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, During a book release at BNHS Mumbai, I met my hero Rom Whitaker, and
Yes.
just spoke with him about because he had made a wonderful documentary on human leopard conflict. Uh,
Yes.
it's a class apart. So I had watched and I was inspired by it. So I just
Mhm.
mentioned. So he said, uh, "Why not cover Lakpat Singh Rawat?" So I was not aware who he was. So
Mhm.
I googled him and found he is the official shooter of leopards in Uttarakhand.
Mhm.
So again, his story was again intriguing. Uh,
Mhm.
he he was a simple teacher in a school in a
Mhm.
remote village in Uttarakhand.
Mhm.
So suddenly there was an attack of leopard, and many of his students were killed one after the other within
Mhm.
a span of few months.
Mhm.
And he was a champion shooter,
Mhm.
so he requested the government to give him permission
Mhm.
to shoot the rogue leopard. And since the situation was really out of control, uh, government allowed him, and he shot the leopard. And after that, one after the other, uh, he started, shooting the leopard whenever there was a menace. It's a different story. Whether that is the right thing to do, there are many debates and scientific ways of assessing. Even in my documentary, Mr. Lakpat Singh Rawat has said that this is the time where his expertise should be used to save the leopards, to tranquilize
Mhm.
him, and so these are some of the intriguing aspects, right? The shooter who has shot more than 50 leopards, half a century of leopards for the government officially, of course. Him saying that now the time has
Mhm.
come to utilize the expertise, scientific knowledge, and everything
Mhm.
to save the leopards rather than right away killing them the moment they become man
Yeah.
eaters.
So Sohail, I just want you to ask one thing. Like, when I have seen the documentary, and what I request all these viewers to go and watch it on India Science OTT channel, that this film is actually about the conflict between the man and the animal, uh, uh, and there apart from uh, these two, there were other experts also who are talking about it, isn't it so?
True, true.
Okay, so what I will do, I will play 2 3 minute clips from the film, and then we'll discuss it. So
Right.
let us watch the film.
Sure.
Vidya Atre, through her path-breaking research on man-leopard conflict, has led to better understanding of the conflict in Indian landscapes.
What I feel is a lot of this man-animal conflict is more a conflict between people across India in many places. After a human child has been attacked, that the family, when the compensation is being given, the family says, we don't want the compensation. We'll pay you this compensation and you sit in front of the leopard. Okay, so it is again how as a human being you're dealing with this human being who has had a loss. If you don't deal with them nicely, they're going to hate you and they're going to hate the animal you represent. The animal is going to become a symbol.
One thing is very common, that most of the people from the surrounding villages, they come in vehicles, they will come and hire the buses, they will come over to that particular place, whereas the hamlet or that small village will be holding not more than a few hundred of people over there, but at the time of the rescue we are just facing thousands of people over there. So it becomes more of a human management issue rather than animal management, because the animal will not be tranquilized properly, because the drugs are not going to be active if the humans keep on making a lot of sounds and they keep on shouting slogans and everything like that.
वो हम नेरवा से लाए थे ना एक एवी लेपर्ड, वो है मई की बात है। तो वो बेचारी, उसको डंडे से मारा, गोलियों से मारा और गाड़ी के नीचे भी लिया था उसको लोगों ने। तो वो तो बहुत बुरी हालत में थी। वहाँ कम से कम हजारों लोग जैसे मेला लगा हुआ उसको देखने को, लेकिन उसको बचाने के लिए कोई प्रयत्न ना करे। 8 घंटे वहाँ रही हो। उसको रेस्क्यू करने में भी काफ़ी टाइम लगा, क्योंकि लोगों ने वहाँ आके, कोई बोलता सिर में पत्थर मारो इसके, कोई बोलता डंडे से मार दो, क्यों बचा रहे हैं आप। अब जहाँ भी रेस्क्यू होते हैं वहाँ जान हथेली पर रख के काम करते हैं कि वहाँ सारे जो है भैंसी बन जाएंगे, पिशाच। तो 7-8 दिन जी वो मर गई। तो उस पर कोई न्यूज ने कोई ऐसा नहीं लिखा कि भाई तेंदुआ कम हुआ या कुछ हुआ या किन लोगों ने गोली मारी। मतलब कोई संज्ञान नहीं लिया जाता, मर गया एक आम बात है कि एक मुर्गा काट दिया बस।
Was really thought provoking shots, and that's why I wanted to play it here so that the people can understand. Like, conflict hota hai, there are so many times we talk about the plight of people. What I think that, yeah, people can talk about themselves, but w- these leopards or these wild animals cannot talk about themselves. And it's not like that they are encroaching. It's basically we are encroaching to their land. The way the development is going on, the way human population is going, it's a continued conflict. So हो सकता है सुहेल जी की लोग कहें कि you are talking about an animal और बीस्ट के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, आदमियों का क्या। And then the environmentalist कहेंगे कि you are talking about the man, the society, they understand कि उनको क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. So as you and Shabnam are working on this man-animal conflict a lot. Even you talk about man-animal conflict, basically the leopard and the man conflict in this film. So what's your take into it? Like, आप क्या सोचते हैं?
Well, it's not an easy issue to deal with. There has been conflict long years ago, when there were ample forests and jungles. If you read, uh, the books from by Jim Corbett and other conservationists and hunters, you find that their single animal would have killed 100, 200, 300 humans. So it is not that the conflict has suddenly come up after the development process.
Okay.
Uh, but the thing is, now we are well equipped with so many resources. And I must say, India is a country with, a billion plus population and still maintaining a wealth of wildlife. It is having among the top ecological zones in the world, biodiversity hotspots, what you call, and such mind-blowing diversity. Hats off to the wildlife managers and experts and NGOs who have been working. But the fact remains, there has to be, since we have so many resources with us, uh, and as you mentioned, animals are mute. They don't have their say. They have their natural instinct, which I must say, leopard has adapted wonderfully well with the development of humans. You will in many places like right here in Mumbai, uh, the places next to national park, you will have the leopard say 5 to 10 meters from you. You won't be even know about it, and it will not harm you. So having said that, it is for us humans to utilize our resources to such a level that the conflict will remain, but at the same time it can be minimized. There is so many. One of the major aspects is cutting down of corridors with infrastructure rapidly developing, expressways, highways. Uh, so at the same time, they are constructing underways, overway passes, and all, involving wildlife scientists, taking them into the panels and finding realistic solutions. That will go a long, long way. As I was mentioning about Dr. Vidya Atre, so her model, her effort have resulted in real time success and mitigation of conflict. Uh, Taking this forward, I would give an example of Mumbai. Mumbai, as some of you might be aware, at the turn of the century, within 3 years, there were 50 human kills. Uh, Sanjay Gandhi National Park is located right in the middle of the city. It's a 100 square kilometer wilderness. It's Mumbai is the only metro city in the world to have such a wild jungle right in the middle. So there was a tremendous conflict which really went out of hand, and 50 people, humans were killed, and there was a tremendous hue and cry. What leopards are doing in the middle of the city? They must be removed. But forest department and authorities and ministries, uh, they held their uh, and they started kind of research why this was happening. And eventually, a time came when the forest department did something splendid. They involved wildlife experts like Dr. Vidya Atre. They involved some select media people. Media plays a very important role, in mitigation of conflict. On one hand, you can have the uh, headlines, Adam Khor, man eater, which creates kind of shock and awe in the minds of the readers. So some of the young and upcoming and very promising journalists like Jaganjit Jadhav and Virat Singh, they were brought on board, and they started presenting the aspect of gradually presenting leopards as the pride of city. And at the same time, the rescue team, which is one of the finest in India, the SGNP, Sanjay Gandhi National Park Leopard Rescue Team, they were trained in such fantastic manner, uh, not only in tranquilizing and dealing with the rogue leopards, but also to interact with the people who are living on the periphery of the national park, the people who are living in the huts. So the moment there was a leopard sighting or some sort of attack, they used to go get a call on their number. Within minutes, the team used to reach there, and that was a big relief for the people. They've got this confidence that there is someone with us to take care of our grievances,
Mhm.
and that led to a tremendous. And then the awareness campaign, for
Okay.
instance, they created the toilets instead of
Mhm.
letting ladies and children go out and out in the morning and evening, and crouching for the leopard. It's it's the same level, and for the leopard it's a kind of prey. So many a time the leopard can attack, mistaking it as a prey. So
Mhm.
all these research elements which came up and which were implemented, and
Uh-huh.
people, Mumbaikars for Sanjay Gandhi National Park, people were brought on board, and
Mhm.
an entire entity was created around human leopard conflict, and it became
Mhm.
one of the biggest success story the world over. Now
Okay.
experts from the whole world, they come over to Mumbai to study this, and even these rescue team and experts, they have visited Uttarakhand. They have a different topography and different kind of challenges that they face over there. But
Mhm.
these experts, exchange of knowledge. Their team came down to Mumbai.
Mhm.
So as we were mentioning about the conflict, there are ways and
Mhm.
means. There conflict is bound to be there, but how to mitigate that and bring it to the minimum level, so that
Mhm.
these rare treasure trove
Mhm.
animals of India as well as humans, they
Mhm.
survive they
Okay.
coexist peacefully.
Yeah. Now coming back to the film. So generally, like, what was the schedule? Like, how much time you have taken to complete this film, and how was the journey? Some difficulties, or you want to share with us, because it's a man animal conflict film. So it's not necessary that the shoot went as you planned. Uh,
Right.
so sometimes there may be some challenges. uh, Anything you want to share with us apart from the whole uh, concept, from conceptualizing the film and then to finalizing it, the duration, the journey.
Right. So as we were discussing, it all started in Himalayas. So my
Hmm.
initial two characters were Ashwani Kumar from Shimla,
Hmm.
and the other gentleman, Lakpat Singh Rawat from Uttarakhand,
Hmm.
one shooting with his camera, another with his gun.
Hmm.
So the first title of this documentary was Where the Himalayas Bleed. So my target documentary location was Himalayas,
Hmm.
Himachal and Uttarakhand. I'll come to this later, how the
Hmm.
title was changed and how Mumbai came into picture. But to start with, it was really interesting interacting with Mr. Ashwani Kumar, as you would see in the documentary. He is a really, encyclopedia on leopards. And just to be with him, follow him, go with him to villages and meeting, interacting with people, children going to schools, that itself was a different experience, very pleasant and very eye-opening experience. How he's not an expert, he's not a researcher, not a wildlife scientist, but just a passionate human being, and his knowledge, which he has gained with his experience, his passion. So he goes to different villages, and he has this small contraption of a screen, a camera. He shoots with his camera, makes small edits, and goes to different hill villages and screens his films before the Pahadi people. And after the screening, he asks them, "Do you know?" They imagine there is some some other place which is far away from their place. So he asked them कि ये कहाँ का पहाड़ों में ब्राक कहते हैं वहाँ पे, ये ब्राक कहाँ का है? सो बच्चे एंड वहाँ के जो लोग हैं वो कहते हैं कि ये कहीं के दूर का जंगल है और बड़ा खतरनाक है और आदमखोर हो सकता है वगैरह वगैरह. So he says, do you see that hill out there? It is hardly 2 kilometers from here. So this leopard, this mother leopard, stays there, right next to you, and she has given birth to so many cubs over the years and successfully raised them and trained them how to coexist with humans and without any conflict with the humans. So this creates an intrigue and interest in the mind of locals, and that's how many of them become, they join him, and they not only make films and do awareness, they patrol the areas, and they have very interesting interconnected, connection with each other. Wherever they find someone suspect loitering about in the vicinity of jungle, they will immediately go and ask that person, and there's more than one people. They will connect with each other and make
Mhm.
sure that their patrolling becomes more powerful in coordination with forest department.
Mhm.
And this is how a common person is bringing about changes. And as I mentioned, conflict is bound to be there because of
Mhm.
you can say encroachment or the human burgeoning population and getting
Mhm.
into territory.
Mhm.
But the role that he's playing, there's some seem to be believed. Then, as I mentioned, this documentary was not pre-scripted.
Okay.
I came to know about Lakhpat Singh Rawat. So I
Mhm.
started my journey with Ramnagar
Mhm.
in Uttarakhand. There I interacted with Corbett Foundation, how they are
Mhm.
dealing with wildlife conflict,
Okay.
tiger conflict, leopard conflict.
Mhm.
So that again was a very interesting formula, because government has its programs in place.
Mhm.
Whenever there's a cattle is killed, a human is killed,
Mhm.
there is compensation, and there are
Mhm.
actions to remove that rogue animal from that
Mhm. Mhm.
area. But
Mhm.
the very important aspect is that someone should reach right away. So
Mhm.
this stopgap arrangement, the filler part, very important, very
Mhm.
critical part. That is what
Mhm.
the Corbett Foundation has been doing.
Mhm.
The moment they hear about a kill, not only human kill is another thing, but cattle kill
Mhm.
itself is a potentially very
Mhm.
dangerous for humans as well as for the leopard
Mhm.
and tigers.
Okay.
Uh, so right away they reach the location, and they
Mhm.
50% the compensation they right away give, and
Mhm.
console the people. We are right here, and
Mhm.
from here I came in contact with came in contact with victims of tiger attacks. They have survived the
Mhm.
tiger attacks. So it was
Mhm.
again very intriguing and heart rending, heart wrenching
Mhm. Mhm.
experience, looking at the women there. Some of the women, they are looking after their family.
Mhm.
They were attacked by tiger, and they're
Mhm.
continuously in pain. And from here, going over to meet Lakhpat Singh Rawat and
Mhm.
interacting with him and meeting the victims of
Mhm.
leopard attack. Again, coming
Mhm.
back to what I mentioned about My India by Jim Corbett. So he has spoken
Okay.
about simple Indians who are uh, very very brave. The hill people, they are extremely brave, simple,
Mhm.
honest people, and
Mhm.
it was really reliving those moments, because people really
Okay.
haven't changed out there in the hills.
Okay.
uh, you'll see in the documentary two women, one woman speaking about another who was attacked by a leopard, and
Mhm.
this woman took up a stick and defended her colleague and
Mhm.
fended off the leopard, and
Wow.
she said the blood was oozing from her neck, and nobody
Mhm.
was willing to take her to the hospital, and she organized with her leadership, and
Okay.
somehow she survived. Similar story with the daughter of another driver. So there are
Mhm.
intriguing stories which were not pre-scripted. When you meet one person, he says that there is another incident and people who have survived this kind of
Mhm.
attacks. You go and meet
Mhm.
and understand their perspective. So the
Mhm.
entire story comes up when the incidents of leopard being burned by people. So there are moments of despair and there are moments of exhilaration and
Mhm.
experience. So as a
Mhm.
filmmaker, these are something to be experienced, to be believed.
Yeah. When we will, the second question was about the challenges. So we will, or some of the moment where you thought of like why I'm making the film. It's better because I ask most of the filmmakers when I talk. I ask कि ऐसा कोई moment आया था. So we will ask you about that moment. But before that, let me play another clip from the film.
Yeah.
ईड़ा हिमाचले दा ओ ठंडी ठंडी हवा बगदी हो चुलदे चीला रे डालू चुलदे चीला रे डालू जीना हिमाचले दा जीना हिमाचले दा
यहाँ पहाड़ी भाषा में तेंदुए को बराग कहा जाता है। मैंने जीवन में दो चीजें रखी है, बराग और राग, क्योंकि संगीत में जैसे 7 सुर होते हैं उसी तरह से जो है प्रकृति के भी 7 रंग हैं। उन 7 रंगों को मैं जानवरों के रूप में देखता हूँ। जैसे कि अगर 7 तेंदुआ है तो रे जो है वो लेपर्ड कैट है, गा जो है वो शाका है, माँ जो है वो डियर है, सारे गा मा पा धा नी सा, ये 7 स्वर आते हैं ना। तो ये मेरे लिए जो है ये जंगली जानवर सुरों के ही रूप में मैं इनको लेता हूँ। और सुर आपको पता कितना सुख पहुँचाता है कानों को, और जो जंगली जानवर है वो आंखों को सुख पहुँचाते हैं। बचपन से ही हम लोगों ने जंगलों में पशु चराए हैं, और तो बचपन से हमने देखा इसे जंगलों में घूमते हुए। लेकिन क्या था कि इसके बारे में हमारे अंदर डर ही लोगों ने और हमारे जो पेरेंट्स से डर ही बिठाया इस जानवर के प्रति, जबकि ऐसा नहीं है।
Ashwini Kumar's fascination for whitetail, the mother leopard of Shimla, began about a decade ago. On his way back from work, Ashwini was crossing a jungle trail when he came face to face with a wild leopard. A brief eye contact followed, and the leopard looked away with an air of wild royalty.
So this was a feel good kind of clip, and so according to this clip, the leopards are not that dangerous, and they generally don't attack the human being. Is
Right.
it so? Then why there is so much of hoopla about leopard attack?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you look at the simple statistics,
Mhm,
minimum 10,000 leopards are there in India today.
mhm,
Uh, 10,000, some experts say between 10 to 15,000, but
mhm,
minimum 10,000 is the least figure. So
mhm,
if the leopards were really harmful,
mhm,
so 10,000 people, 10,000 leopards attacking humans. Can you imagine the kind of situation, the kind of crisis it would have created?
mhm,
That's not happening.
mhm. Yeah.
Uh, Snake bite itself is supposed to kill 50,000 humans every year.
Mhm,
Because unfortunately the snakes, they are there in the uh, crop and field areas where mostly the farmers, they directly come in contact with them.
mhm, mhm,
Whereas leopard, you'll hardly find the figures. There are certain states like Uttarakhand, some parts of Himachal Pradesh,
mhm,
uh, some parts of Maharashtra, and some
mhm,
other states. But these two states are the main places where there has been
mhm,
conflict and human kills and attacks. So
mhm,
they have their own geography, topography, history,
mhm,
and the reasons why there
mhm,
have been so many attacks. But
mhm,
by and large, leopard is a very, very peaceful. You have to, just read about it, learn about it, watch documentaries, how it has adapted over
mhm,
last century or decades, you may say, with the
mhm,
change of human, attitude and human uh, encroachment, you would say. It's
mhm,
adapted
mhm,
itself tremendously well.
mhm,
One leopard requires one dog, carrier dog, or
mhm.
one goat or one sheep to survive for 1 week. And
Okay.
during an entire year, a leopard
Mhm,
needs on an average 50 to 52 animals.
mhm,
And it does so either in the jungle, or it
mhm,
comes in the human vicinity,
mhm,
quietly picks up an animal, goes back
mhm,
to his domain,
mhm,
and at the same time very carefully avoiding the human contact. The stealth and the kind of
mhm,
nature it has developed, it is seen to be believed. It has to be really studied, and so it is really one of the least harmful animals, wild animals you can see.
mhm, mhm.
A
Okay.
tiger living in such close vicinity cannot be imagined. But leopard, they are right there next to you. Wherever
Mhm,
there are areas where there are leopards. Sanjay Gandhi National Park, there are 35 to 40 wild leopards. and there
Mhm.
are regular wild trails where they take people right from young children to adults to everyone on frequent jungle trails, right
Mhm.
from the middle of the territory where you have wild leopards there. If
Okay.
if the leopards were really so dangerous, then
Mhm.
every now and then you'll find children
Mhm.
being picked up, people being killed, but it's not happening. For
Mhm.
40 leopards not killing a human for years together, and
Mhm.
this remarkable it goes on to prove that leopard is really one animal which has adapted tremendously well. And
Mhm.
now, as I said, uh, conflict is bound to be there. Even
Mhm.
within humans, we have so much of conflict nowadays.
Mhm. Mhm.
Forget about wild animals. It
Mhm.
acts on its instinct. So with
Okay.
more resources and more knowledge, we are in a
Mhm.
much strong position to mitigate and manage this conflict.
Yeah, well said. So now let's talk about another of your film, that is Wild Combat Inside Indian Customs War on Wildlife Trafficking.
Right.
Can you tell me a little about this film, because it's talking about very interesting subject, how custom is dealing with wildlife trafficking. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Uh, it was an opportunity which was really brought about very powerful experiences, very extremely eye-opening experiences for me.
Mm,
I did an honorary work for making a documentary for in-house documentary for customs department, because
mhm,
now the top management, they're seriously looking at making customs, Indian customs, as a frontline agency to combat international wildlife trafficking.
okay.
Because the most of the demand for most of the post parts of
Mhm,
wild animals that arises out of India,
mhm,
Southeast Asian countries, China, and
mhm,
Western countries. Recent reports say US is a big importer of tiger parts and all. So eventually, all these contraband and other parts, they have to cross international borders, be
mhm,
it land, sea,
mhm.
or air. So at all
Okay.
these locations, customs is the frontline agency which controls the movement of the goods. Uh,
Mhm,
so they wanted me to, make a film that showcases the role of customs.
mhm,
Incidentally, customs that is an agency that makes the maximum, cases of international wildlife trafficking. It doesn't come so much in the, media. It doesn't get so much of media attention. But fact remains that it is the frontline agency, and now they are looking forward to make it the entity a stronger entity to deal with international wildlife trafficking.
mhm,
So the first place we visited was Kaziranga National Park with one
mhm.
of the senior officers of the department. Um, so there we witnessed the way the cruel manner in which the rhinos are being poached. I'll
Okay.
briefly, for the sake of audience, some of them might be aware. But
Mhm,
with what I experienced there, the way rhino is poached is a very intricate story. It
mhm,
is not that poachers simply come and kill because there are armed guards with the order of shoot at sight. So it
mhm,
is not uh, such an easy task for anyone to simply. It needs to it needs to have a tremendous motivation, a
mhm,
negative motivation to enter the park and succeed in killing and
mhm.
dehorning the rhino. So
Okay.
what in most of the cases, what we understood was there are insurgent elements out there.
Mhm.
They may not be so active right now, but they have to manage their cadre. And
Okay.
rhino horn is one of the resources which fetches them tremendous amount. Um, uh, Lakhs and lakhs. I should not be quoting on public platform because it is
Okay.
said that
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
need different kinds of, but it's a tremendous amount inside India, and
Mhm,
once it goes out of India,
mhm,
it
mhm,
multiplies many times. So basically, they play a psychological game. They shortlist a person who is well versed with rhino movement inside the park, maybe a retired guard or a local person who knows
Okay.
the rhino movement and all. And
Mhm.
in some of the instances, they will approach the local banya and find
Okay.
out, and they give this kind of description? Do you have someone who you have lent money and who is unable to return that amount? So
Okay.
once that person is shortlisted, then these people go to him and ask them, you have got 2 days to return the entire money or we'll shoot you.
Oh.
Now, literally, it's a case of death dancing before that person.
Mm-hmm.
Then next day they come, we'll give you an option. You
Mm-hmm.
take a team inside the national park, Kaziranga National Park,
Mm-hmm.
lead a team, guide them, help
Mm-hmm.
them in poaching a rhino, getting its horn.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
only your debt will be written off, but you will be getting additional 10, 20,000, whatever the figure.
Mm-hmm.
So now the person who has already seen death so close, this is a sort
Mm-hmm.
of second life. So he gets this kind of negative motivation to, he's not himself a poacher, but he's made to, lead the team. And there are some, sharpshooters from the insurgent side
Mm-hmm.
carrying AK-47 and all. So they are so well trained, they will, enter the Brahmaputra in a small boat
Mm-hmm.
and the dead of the night. And there are patrolling boats, vessels of Assam Forest Department. They're very active. The
Mm-hmm.
moment they see some light coming towards them, they will immediately turn the boat upside down, pull it inside the water, and
Oh.
they will literally use a sort of snorkel, and they
Uh-huh.
can stay inside the water, and this way they can continue for an hour or so till the coast is clear, and then they get
Okay.
back on their boat and enter into the park. They are well
Oh.
equipped with provision
Mm-hmm.
for next 2 3 days till they get
Mm-hmm.
their ride. And it is so dense out there, they simply and on the other hand, we found these very active forest department people.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every other night they get this message and wireless message. They're
Mm-hmm.
suspected poachers.
Mm-hmm.
Their team right away rushes to the place armed, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so it's a hide and seek perpetual
Mm-hmm.
game going on at that point
Mm-hmm.
of time. So this team of 3 to 4 poachers, they enter into the
Mm-hmm.
park. They
Mm-hmm.
follow the dung. They have rhinos have some sort of pattern where they find the dung, and
Mm-hmm.
one person provokes, then sharpshooter kills hits the rhino, and while
Mm-hmm.
it's alive, it is dehorned and
Mm-hmm.
left to be killed alive.
Okay,
Uh,
and when we talk about this wildlife trafficking, killing of the wildlife animal for trafficking their parts or the horns, is it only limited to the rhinos or sometimes for elephants or tigers? What is the what animals these poachers are trying to kill? It's only these two three big guys.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. You name the
Okay.
animal, there is a story behind it about its so-called uh, medicinal properties and aphrodisiac
Uh-huh.
and whatnot. So
Hmm. Yes.
is the most poached mammal on the earth.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
that is the poor animal. We witnessed this part also during the making of the documentary,
Hmm.
how it is poached and how it is
Hmm.
taken to the northeast areas.
Hmm.
Pangolin, then you have snakes.
Hmm.
There is great demand of snake skins, and to
Okay.
make good snake skin, many times they have to skin them alive.
Oh.
DRI once held a container full of snake skins, 56,000 snake skins. You
Oh.
can imagine 56,000 snake skins and how many more snakes would have been killed behind the story, behind the
Hmm.
scene. So snakes are there, and then there are sea life, shark fins.
Turtles, yes. Shark fins, turtles,
Turtles,
yes, yes.
yeah, the turtle is a big commodity for as a pet. Owls,
Yeah.
and there is a upcoming. It is already well entrenched into Indian system.
Yes.
A very powerful and very troublesome thing that is live smuggling of live species, exotic species. India has become a
Okay.
hub,
Oh,
so that
yes.
is another big challenge,
Hmm.
which
So,
customs is dealing.
yeah. So now you had made the film on this very issue. One thing that most of the documentary filmmakers or any filmmaker must have thought about when they were sitting alone or thinking about, like, is their documentary or is their film making any changes in the society? So you had, worked on this man animal conflict and this poaching issues. Do you think that your films had made any change, had created any impact? Can you share something with us about it?
Starting with a simpler level, many of the films they are being used by NGOs for awareness purpose successfully over the
Mm-hmm.
years. And one film I would like to briefly speak about the same on customs and wildlife trafficking. So the customs department had organized a national level workshop of
Mm-hmm.
enforcement agencies in which
Mm-hmm.
over 100 cutting edge officers from various agencies such as forest department, CBI, police, border forces, and of course customs.
Mm-hmm.
They came together under a common platform
Mm-hmm.
for a 2 days workshop
Mm-hmm.
and for a brainstorming session, because
Mm-hmm.
this was somehow triggered by with my idea to hold this workshop, which
Mm-hmm.
eventually took shape.
Mm-hmm.
And for this workshop, I made another version of this documentary, which was the first
Mm-hmm.
version, in
Mm-hmm.
which we showed the glimpses of other enforcement agencies working to prevent the wildlife trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
So this short film that had glimpses of all the enforcement agencies working towards a common goal of
Mm-hmm.
preventing the poaching, the wildlife trafficking,
Yes.
and all these officers sitting under one roof and watching. Then the kind of feeling that gets generated is okay, each department feels they are working independently. There is a lack of coordination, and this is the wonderful time when they can come together
Mm-hmm.
and you utilize their powers, their expertise, their experience, help each other, and
Mm-hmm.
take uh, the enforcement to different level. And that's what happened. I was in touch with some of the cutting edge officers. For example, for instance, uh, the chief of Madhya Pradesh Special Task Force,
Mm-hmm.
some cutting edge officers from Uttar Pradesh,
Mm-hmm.
and from DRI, from Customs Department, uh, and we came together, planned
Mm-hmm.
something, and generated intelligence, and we were in fact successful in lot of enforcement. These officers came together, they really succeeded in lot of and successful enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
which led to lots of confiscations, lots of arrests. At least 2 people are still behind the bar, which is a rare thing for
Mm-hmm.
the last 3 years or so. So
Mm-hmm.
this was one experience where I interacted with all the enforcement agencies, came up with the
Mm-hmm.
film, shared
Mm-hmm.
the film with them. It brought about
Mm-hmm.
a kind of awareness. It
Mm-hmm.
triggered a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It initiated an action, and it
Mm-hmm.
resulted in successful coordination, which is going to be stronger by the going stronger by the day. And within the department, there is a very strong position right at the senior level to make the department stronger in terms of enforcement. And there are such wonderful, intriguing stories. They really are the subjects of wonderful web series. If someone could, come forward, and those are real life thrilling stories. And an entire series of films can be made on, tiger, how enforcement was done in respect of tiger, in
Good.
one episode, the rhino and all the
Yeah.
animals. So that was my
Yes.
one experience.
It's really, wonderful knowing these things, Sohail. We as we are uh, now we had a limited time with us, so we are coming to the end of the session. So before closing the session, one thing which I generally ask: what is next? What next thing you and Shabnam are coming up with?
Uh, there are two things. Right now, we are making a documentary on wetlands of Mumbai, especially on Thane Creek.
Mm-hmm.
It has been recently, a couple of years ago, it has been declared as the Flamingo Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And now it has been proposed by the Forest Department to be declared as a Ramsar site.
Okay.
which is endorsed by the chief minister. But at the same time, this creek is facing some tremendous challenges in terms of pollution. The
Mhm.
fish population has simply vanished. It
Mhm.
has affected the livelihood of the
Mhm.
fishermen who have been surviving for generations.
Mhm.
And question of untreated solid and liquid waste, and so
Mhm.
many interrelated. There are many success stories, and more than
Mhm.
160 species of birds, migratory
Mhm.
birds, living within this wonderful, beautiful world of Thane Creek,
Mhm.
but assaulted by so as perspectives, all the department, government, non-government agencies. So I coming up with a holistic. We are coming up with a holistic version of this documentary,
Mhm.
and hope to trigger a discussion and debate so for a solution towards this. And next thing, we, as I mentioned about the intriguing stories which need to be taken to the bigger platforms. So that's what we are looking for. How soon we can find those resources and take the stories to for a larger audience.
Okay, we got one viewer, Anuj. Anuj is saying, "Can we get his number?" Certainly, Anuj, you can get his number. Why don't you write to us and we will let you know? You can write to us at info@cmsvatavaran.org, or you can write directly to me, sabyasachi@cmsvatavaran.org, and we will provide you Sohail's number. No problem. Thank you, Sohail. Best of luck and all good wishes to you and to Shabnam for making these kind of beautiful and thought-provoking documentary. We really need the filmmakers like you and Shabnam, who are talking very relevant issue of man-animal conflict and also poaching and all these things. So we hope to see your next film in the upcoming 12th CMS Vatavaran Film Festival. uh, Again, thank you very much for taking your time and talking with us. Have a great day, Sohail.
Thank you, Sabyasachi, and thank you once again, CMS Vatafront, for providing us with such wonderful, respectable platform. We are really honored. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Uh, so, friend, this was Sohail Jafri, who were talking about his film, which has been nominated in CMS Vatavaran, 11th CMS Vatavaran Film Festival and Forum on hybrid mode. Shoot That Leopard. You can watch his film apart from 88 other films on India Science OTT channel till 23rd of April. It's free for all, so please come and enjoy these kind of thought-provoking film. And if you want some changes, if you want to add something, if you have some suggestions for us, please do write to us at info@cmsvatavaran.org, or you can write directly to me also at sabyasachi@cmsvatavaran.org. And tomorrow is a very wonderful day where we are having three wonderful programs. So in the morning, at 11:30 we will be talking to Mr. G Surya Kumar, ADZ Nabard, and we will be talking with him about the Nabard's plan of combating climate change and helping the agriculture sector and the farmers of India. Then from 4 to 5 tomorrow, we are not tomorrow we are talking to not any filmmaker but the mountain man of India, Padma Bhushan Sri Anil Prakash Joshi ji. So join us for with a conversation with Anil Prakash Joshi ji tomorrow 4 uh, p.m. And uh, then we will have we have two programs tomorrow, so we hope to see you tomorrow morning. At the end of the session, I really want to express my gratitude to India Science Channel uh, uh, and Vigyan Prasar for letting us use their platform for 11th CMS Vatavaran Film Festival and Forum in hybrid mode. And I invite you all to join us on the online award function on 23rd at 11 p.m. Um, and I also want to express my gratitude to all our program partners, including uh, Government of Haryana, Forest Department of Haryana, Pollution Control Board of Haryana, MOFCC, Government of India, uh, the High Commission of Canada in India, uh, Chitkara University, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, PSCST, I also want to express my gratitude towards IUCN, CEC, Green Film Network, and all other friends. And at the end of the, you know, all the CMS Vatavaran team members. So thank you very much, friends. Do join us tomorrow. Have a great day. Good night, friends.